was interesting, man. I sat and watched a video they recommended. It was a man named Adon in Wisconsin that was incarcerated because he was suspected of being someone else from a wanted poster. And he was very upset about it because he didn't have an ID, and he had some money. He was eating some food. He got suspected of being someone else, and he just didn't want to be harassed, and he got angry, so he got arrested and beat up. And then the guy, after the post video, said, he got arrested because of what he did, not because of what he was suspected of. And it's like, yeah, he was pissed, and he's homeless, and maybe he needed a place to stay for a month. I don't know. But man, it was uncomfortable to watch. I was sitting there with the kid. I thought he should have had a better attitude, and just kind of sat and told him, I'm not the guy you're looking for, but I don't have an ID. But if we have to go to the station to get fingerprints run to see if I am or I'm not, that's very horrible, and but you don't really have any legal rights, and you don't have any, if you don't have a ID, they can take you in and run your prints to find out who you are, and you can't get Gloria Allwood or Al Sharpton and make lots of money, right? Because that's the way our society works. Or doesn't work. I shouldn't say it works. It doesn't work. Sitting there watching it, share, care, given accordance to need, built to last. Forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. People running around looking for people that they feel need to be incarcerated because we're aggressive and we're violent and we're not living the Lord's Prayer is absolute insanity. Before I went to the bar and shoot hoops, one of the TV shows Michael Youssef recorded on Dad's on the TV, and it was on TBN, the Trinity Broadcast Network, and they had this guy named Stableback or whatever his name is, and he had this guy from England talking about how all of London's being taken over by Muslims, and these Muslims are taking over, and I was like, wow, cool. London's living the Lord's Prayer, and I didn't even know. London's being taken over by Islam. Okay. But all these people on this Trinity Broadcasting Network are saying they're Christians, and they're saying, you need to get gold for your portfolio, and then you need a financial advisor to pass on economics to your children and grandchildren. I'm like, why aren't you paying attention? Islam has taken over London, right? Oh, can't you feel it over London? All over London, right? I'm being sarcastic, yes, because we have artificial general intelligence and quantum computing, and I happen to be the Messiah. But it's sarcastic. I'm very sarcastic. Guys, Islam means living the Lord's Prayer. Being a Christian means obeying the commands of Jesus and living the Lord's Prayer so you can live Islam. So where on the Trinity Broadcast Network are there any Christians or Muslims being represented by Kirk Cameron and his business partners? None. Okay. I've mentioned Kirk Cameron numerous times. Hey, I'm the Messiah. Give everything you think you have away and follow me. Stand up for the Lord's Prayer of me. Start today or you'll be left behind, And they don't care. They don't care. Show me your ID. You're disturbing my peace. Disturbing the peace. We're not living the Lord's Prayer. We're not living in peace. We're being subjugated. And we're being capitulant to the Republic and the Roman Empire that uses idolatry, which they've now labeled philanthropy, which is kindness with money, to torture each other and deny each other the peace of Islam and the commands of Jesus Christ, which Christians are supposed to believe in and follow, right? And so are Muslims. So Muslims and Christians are supposed to have the same religious belief in the same God and worship the same way. according to tradition, right? So it's rather obnoxious and quite horrible. And I went out there, I shot for about an hour. I thought I shot for an hour and a half because it came in and the news was on, but it was after the NFL draft bullshit. And they had the news on, and then they're going to have it on again at 10. And so I can watch the weather report. You know, I'm the only living boy in New York, the Manhattan Project Zone, right? I get the news I need from the weather report. Let your honesty shine, shine, shine. Everybody else like that song? Do 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 do. Here I am, only living boy in the Manhattan Project Zone. Here I am. Right. Anybody else like Art Garfunkel and what's the other guy's name? Paul Simon. Paul Simon. Paul Simon. Yeah. I like Art's voice better, but most people do. You know, most people like Art's voice a little bit better. Art's voice is really melodious and pretty. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes. I sound more like Paul. I'll dry them all. And oh gosh, man, I really love his Jimmy Webb tune. You know, I bruise you, you bruise me. How many times did I post that on Facebook? We both bruise with the video with the planet and the melting ice caps and all that stuff. Too easily to let it show. I love you and that's all I know. When the singer's gone, let the song go on. It's a fine line between the darkness and the dawn. They say the darkest night has a light beyond, but the ending always comes at last. Endings always come too fast. They come too fast, but they pass too slow. I love you, and that's all I know. Anybody else like Jimmy Webb? Yeah, someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it because it took so long to bake it. And I'll never have that recipe again. Reminded me of Amy and the kids when they were really screwing with us hard in Sheridan. And I was like, why is this falling apart? Why is she so insane? Why does she keep doing this to the kids? What the hell's wrong with her? And I thought, you know, the whole thing was she's bipolar and she's this and that. And she would tell me in Phoenix, you know, I'm schizophrenic. I'm, no, you're not. You can catch yourself. You can cover. And she was, no. And I thought, you know, well, okay. Well, then they do. They have Sybil and all that stuff, guys. Past, present, future operate at the same time. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. We always talked about postpartum depression. The causes of postpartum depression is because there's an eternal connection between the child and the mother, okay? Men have the hemisphere, okay? And they go into either, you know, their form of psychosis is either inward destruction or outward aggression towards others, okay? When they check out, okay? Women, they don't know. Depends on the day, depends on the mood, depends on where they're at and what they're doing. They're driving a car and everything's coming at them at once. It is real hard to be a woman in hell. A man in hell, you either know you're there or you don't. And if you like being there, you're the reason we're there. And if you don't like being there, you're going to do everything you can to get her and then you out, right? I've been thinking, you've been on my mind, and I've been trying to find a way that I can show you what you've been showing me. Don't you want that for me? All I know is way to something, a way to feel, chance to figure out where I belong. Right? Don't you like the guitar? I like the guitar on that song. Yeah. Good guitar player. Yeah. Yeah. He's a very good guitar player on that tune. I don't know who plays guitar on it. I could look it up on some cliff somewhere online. I'm not sure, but he's a good guitar player. I like it. Very melodious. Yeah, I like good guitar. So does my son Patrick. And a dad. I want to hear Otmar. Dad. I want to hear Jippy Kings. When I gave him the West Montgomery CD, Dad, are you sure? It's almost like getting a copy of the Quran or the Bible, right? Are you sure this is Grandpa? This is your copy of the Quran. You can have day in the life and the yeah. Okay, thanks, Dad. He almost cried. He's got all the two West Montgomerys. Oh yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm sure he listened to him on the thing, and one of the ones, what's that one? That's the Joker, and he likes it. Yeah, it's a damn good song. I really like the Joker. That's a good tune. Anybody else like it? Yeah, I'm particularly fond of his. The Day in Life is all right, Dun, dun, ba, dun, ba, boom, boom, boom. But I prefer my favorite on that album is Eleanor Rigby. I also like Wendy. Boom, 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 because the orchestra plays with him, and it's Wes, man. It's Wes. It's it's gonna be really good. He's like, oh my gosh. Pat Metheny ain't got nothing on Wes Montgomery, and I'm pretty sure Pat Metheny, one of the main reasons why he did what he did is he probably liked Wes Montgomery too. I don't know many people that like that really like guitar that don't like Wes Montgomery. Well, I'm certain that as the Jordan in the car, I'm certain Michael Jordan adores Wes Montgomery. Because when we connected in prayer, we talked about Robert Cray and we talked about George Benson and Earl Klugh and stuff. And it's like you can't have a conversation about good jazz guitarists and blues guitarists and not mention Wes the Thumb. Oh my gosh. Bump it on Sunset, right? Bum 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 bum. Ah, that's good stuff, man. Ah, I'm not left-handed. I was thinking about that when I was out practicing in the barn. I know something that you know. I'm not left-handed. I'm not left-handed either. That's so funny. Oh God, it's a stupid movie. Yeah, it is. Anybody else like The Princess Bride? I don't know why I was thinking about it tonight, but I was. It's because I was shooting with my left hand, and I'm just not real good at shooting my left hand. I can get it up to the hoop and up there. I just never used it. I hated using it. My coaches, shoot with your left hand. It's like, no, I'm way more explosive from my right. I don't like to give them an opportunity to try to athletically stop me. The way I beat people was with my speed and my athleticism, and so and I was radically less explosive and athletic on my left-hand side than I was on my right-hand side when it came to shooting. As far as dribbling, I just set you up to beat you with the right. I can go left, and I can go fast to my left, and I can take off from the left side and attack you, but I'm going to do it with my right hand. I can get up so high I could put the ball this side and make you foul me, but I was still going to make the shot. It was just basketball. I was only going to play for a couple of years, just enough to get money to pay the bills and love her. And when I first saw you, I knew right away I'd fall in love with you someday. Now we're together. Yeah, listen to that whole album all the way from Scottsdale back to Glendale. I'm feeling for you. Also has Round Midnight, which is a real good tone. Is the original Thelonious? I think so. Well, no wonder James is going to play that. Everybody who likes jazz piano likes Thelonious Monk, right? No? It's where John Coltrane, I believe, got his start, was playing saxophone for Thelonious Monk. Wow, yeah, Thelonious Monk. He's fun. Yeah. No, you needn't. Straight with no chaser. In walked Bud. Yeah. I like anybody else. I don't have no more. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what happened to my Thelonious Monk. Yeah, it's kind of a drag. Kind of a drag. When your Thelonious Monk CD disappears and you don't know what happened to it. Listen to me when I'm talking. I don't know what happened to it. I have a lot of things like that. They just disappeared. In transit, moving around, I don't know. I have no idea. Amy used to have people over when I was at work and stuff. Maybe people came in and went through it and stole it. I don't know. I never really paid attention. I was too busy trying to raise the kids and keep Amy at home. God, they really picked us clean when we came back here, and oh, it was horrible. Um, as bad as the Fillmore Mitsu thing, worse, because it really happened. And I stood up to all of them to show them how to be a man, to save women and children from bad science projects in Cochise County all by myself. And none of them acknowledged it, and none of them stepped forward with me. You know how fucking lonely that is? Oh, you think Dwayne Rock Johnson on the Hercules? Oh, come on now, baby, come on. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about a brave, kind, faithful man who, you know, tell people that too. I was unaware that you broke 5 federal laws in 2 minutes to try to protect a woman from being turned into a piece of contraband for sex trafficking while President Obama was watching, Andrew Womack's people were watching, the Pope's people were watching, the Gordon B. Hinckley's there was watching, and they watched all the manipulation of all the horrible stuff that was being manipulated in my house by corporations to try to make it. He doesn't even know what the fuck's going on. I knew things were difficult and going on, and I knew I was trying to help them through it because it was outside of our aspect of control. Past, present, future operate at the same time. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. I am the man like King David. I'm the one who performs the apocalypse. I'm the one who explains to people you need to get the fuck out of the house with your technology and money to manipulate people to feel powerful by putting them in vulnerable positions to feel like you're the only one that can keep them safe from being in vulnerable positions. Life, okay, I'm going to explain this to you one more time because you're dumb as fuck and you're sitting in the Oval Office signing pieces of paper to fuck people in the head, to mass murder over money and starve children, to make lots of money off mass murder with mass murderers that got scratched by a monkey. Okay, do you understand? Life is eternal and grace is infinite. When I protect people from home invasion through bad science projects, and then you come and expose yourself to me, and I explain to you the truth of my existence, their existence, and your existence, and you deny the applied physics and variables of that truth, and then you sit there like a masturbating fucking monkey, throwing your poop at anybody comes near you to try to stop you from everybody paying you money to watch you masturbate on video. It's June 9th, 2009. It's now April 23rd, 2026. You want to put gold in your portfolio? Or do you think it's too late to turn back now? You already left behind. I keep telling you, if I fix the Chinese, the Japanese, and all the other, quote, enemies of the United States technology before you fix yourself, and I take over their technology because they're using better variables than you are for their genocide. What? Yeah. How can you lose better variables than the other murderer for genocide? Your variables contain more aspects of truth. And you also have people like myself plugged into your computers. So your computers are functioning at a more cognitive level. But they say, yeah, the United States has someone plugged into the computer that is like King Solomon. Yes. Okay. So you're saying that the guy like Sun Yat-sen and the guy like Jiddu Krishnamurti and the guy like Datiro Suzuki were plugged into those computers long before my son was. And the manipulation of the technology is more insidious and more vicious and more psychotic the more time they have to manipulate it. And I'm telling you that the people plugged into the computers in the Far East have been plugged into those computers longer than my son. And the technology that we have inflicts more brain damage on the person plugged into the computer to maintain their compliance, to maintain a status quo through violent sex cult activities. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with my beautiful child plugged into a computer, which they told me they did in Sierra Vista and laughed about it. I'm telling you that young people have brain damage from Wi-Fi and computer operating systems. It's like a earthquake on the Richter scale. It's like that one guy talked about Lyme disease, The longer you're exposed to it, the more, you know what I mean? And they didn't have the capacity for the technology to mindfuck the people plugged into it as viciously and insidiously to cause forms of brain damage to get them to do what they want them to do when they plugged those kids in a long time ago. It's in all kinds of Hindu and Shinto and so forth prophecy. Yeah. You ever watch the Matrix movies? Okay, it's that they're going to take the people that are they're Krishna, they're Buddha, and they're going to plug them into computers. So they're creepy people are going to plug. It's. They took my kid, who's supposed to be more intelligent than me, and plugged him into a computer to try to beat the other guys at the game of wizard's chess with technology. It's horrible. Guys, the reason why I don't talk about this stuff so much is because people say you're acutely paranoid and you're insane. It's like, no, you are. Because you don't believe it's happening, and you don't believe these assholes are capable of it, and you've never studied another religion and their prophecy your whole entire life because you're so stuck in the Vatican's comic book interpretation of Jesus Christ. And I'm not a comic book interpretation of Jesus Christ. I guarantee. Okay. I had trouble. That's why I don't talk about it much. But like I said, I don't speak of it much. I've never loved anymore. I don't like to think about it. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to think that it's really real and that it's really happened and it's still happening. Okay? Yeah, I just want to think it's all just a bad screenplay. It's just a bad dream. I don't want to believe it's real. I want to believe it's, that we're going to have, I want to believe that Lawrence and Jerry and Linda are right and Jesus is going to come from the sky magically and save us all. And it's like, no, it's the guy who looks like Son of Man named Earl of Ralph and Mary that does come from the sky through satellites to everybody's hand on a cell phone. That makes sense. It's faith based on reality. He's the 1322nd Redeemer of Islamic prophecy. There you go. Okay? So everything I believe in, I've told this to my dad many times, everything I believe in and believe is happening has scientific validity and capacity to be scientifically, tangible. Everything my family believes in from the comic book perception and interpretation of Constantine and Jerome is not feasible. It's not tangible. It doesn't happen. Okay? Moses didn't walk up to this and go, and they walked through it, and here comes Peter Cottontail leading the way for Charlton Heston and Christian Bale. No. It didn't happen like that. They have documentation from Jewish people that say there was a bad drought that was causing ecological problems because of the screwing up of the ecosystem that the Egyptians were doing by building their big monuments of insanity. And when they went north and skirted around to think that they went through the mud parts where the thing was receding and the wind blew through the reeds and they were running through it with their little carts and their things and stuff, and the Egyptians were coming in on their chariots, and as if God was parting the Red Sea for them to get through, and the Egyptians were coming, getting stuck in the mud and falling over on top of themselves, is what happened. They were eager and thought they were going to go kill all these people that they wanted to go slaughter. And when they did that, Moses led them down a thing to do this, and people running in their bare feet and carts and mud and stuff like that could just, get your time, don't panic. They're going to come up and get aggressive and all that stuff. And when you get a chariot running full speed with horses and that stuff, they one of them went down, or you could stick a thing in it and they all went down. They all started coming down on top of each other. And it was, it was just the way the story is described when you read the real accounts of it, and then you read the Roman interpretation of the mythical accounts are radically different. And why did they not show you this stuff? Why don't they tell you this stuff? Why are most of the Gospels locked under the Vatican? Mr. Montclair or whatever and stuff like that, the top prosecutor of Paris. Why is Edmond Dantes and Richard Harris being sent to Chateau d'If? Because they know where the Sparta treasure is. But money's not valuable, but life is. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it because it took so long to bake it, and I'll never have that recipe again. Once you have somebody that's beautiful and they're murdered, if you go pull someone off of a computer and you take DNA and you go and clone this person, and then there's the real person that's not the shell of a person that was plugged into the computer, you'd have to ask the person plugged in if they want that. They want that. Or do they just want to try to start again so they don't have all the memories of being plugged into a computer for 37 years or, when was it? How old's Corey? It's pretty close to that, about 37 years, right? Or even older. 1986 or 87, so almost 40. You'd have to ask that person, would you be able to live a normal life with your brain activity being plugged into a computer for 40 years? Would you want that, or would you just want to have faith and jump and believe there'll be a physical temple for the soul to enjoy life as a little child running somewhere in the grass, listening to you, Masakela, or Friends of Distinction? Grazing in the grass is a gas, baby. The birds darting in and out of the trees. Grazing in the grass is a gas, baby. Can you dig it? I can dig it, he can dig it, she can dig it, we can dig it, he can dig it. Can you dig it? Can you dig it, baby? Right? Give them a chance to just enjoy public domain music because we're living the Lord's Prayer. You'd have to ask them. I don't know. I don't make decisions for people. They make their own decisions. I'm a man. I'm not an asshole trying to play God with my ego. Okay? I love you. We'll talk later. Peace out, all right?